Welcome back to Werewolf Wiring Out. I'm your host, not your host Selena. And for day one of my film study on my own as I watch movies and critique them, I thought it would be best to choose the genre documentaries. Because if you're like me and you don't have big budget, all-star cast, producers, those who know how to edit videos and pictures, anybody can make a documentary. All right, everybody has a skill of home videos, and if you're going to learn as a film student, you should learn some documentary tips and tools and trades, because that is truly storytelling. It's the relationship between the camera and its people and reality, and exposing themselves and their truth in that moment. And why not tell the truth of stories? All right. The movie I chose to investigate was Grey Gardens. I not only watched the documentary, I watched the HBO film remake of it with Drew Barrymore and Jessica Lange. So give me a minute. And the documentary was about Edith, her mother, and Edith, the daughter, Beale. They were aunt and first cousin to Jackie Kennedy. And the movie was directed it by Albert and David Maysles in 1975. And this movie was about upper rich people in the East Hampton of New York who are now living in poverty and squalor because they're like hoarders and reclusives. And according to some critique, grotesque, because they're so outrageous. This documentary was shot in the point of view of two people, the mother and the daughter, and they're inviting you into their home, Grey Gardens. And it was called that for the color of the dunes, the concrete wall gardens, and the sea mist. You know how them rich homes have, Kensington Palace and all that. So, yeah. The mom and the daughter are, they're eccentric. Okay? They're like show business and the cabaret and the dancing and all that. And as you watch this movie, it touches a lot on the past. And these people, like the past and the future blurs. They're always constantly living in a time where glamour and prestigious and status was theirs, and now they're, they just came out of being evicted. Like they had this eviction, their house was hoarders, and it was, a nuisance to the neighborhoods, and they were going to get evicted. But of course, Jackie Kennedy couldn't allow them the papers to say she can take care of her kin. So she went over there to fix it. And that's pretty much the aftermath of the movie, these two together. And what we learn from that, I wanted to watch documentaries to study the camera and focus on the subject. That way I can see the camera, mostly the pure essence of the lens through the camera. But what I've learned is anybody can just have a camera. Anybody can put up a camera. Anybody can put up a home video on YouTube, a reaction video. What it really takes is people who are enthusiastic and love the movies. Now, the camera's there, but anybody can put a camera in a room and record it themselves. What makes filmmaking special is all that it includes. I mean, you need a director. Like, they definitely played up the the flirting with the Edith, the daughter, from the film directors. But I think it's truly them showing her personality, like she's playing to the audience. But in order to do that, you have somebody behind the screen directing it, playing off of people, playing off the settings and the Grey Gardens on the wall. All that matters. People are playing off of each other. And, Edith is this rambunctious, eclectic or whatever, the style icon to the drag queens, because she just owns it. She owns her madness. She shows up with her man outfits, and the first thing you hear her is, "Oh my God, I don't like skirts. I like making my own fashion. Tune in with me as I flirt with you." And the camera documentary crew was really cool with the way they used their angles to like show you, like Edith when she was flirting with the cameras, they were like bringing it in with her eyes, like I'm doing waving a flag for them and whatnot. And there was even one point where the mother and the daughter, I told you, outrageous creatures. They were so outrageous. People were critiquing the film directors for exploiting them. And all they were doing was inviting them into their home. They needed the money. They wanted, to put on a show. They're going through their photo albums and all this. And one point, it got so audible. Because Edith all day, was like telling her mom how she could have been this, could have been that. But, the 1 year I didn't see the sun in 1975 because I couldn't look out the window. That's how helpless mom was and needed me by her side, right? And they were getting so inaudible. They were talking about the men of their life in the past and this and that. They were so audible. Even the camera was shaking with them, and she was inaudible. And then there was also a part where the mom is always being indecent exposure. At one point, she was in the corner trying to like undress us. And they show you the bond between the people behind the camera who represent the audience or the director or the narrative of the story. Basically, somebody you want to tell the story to. And there's live insight reactions. And the mom was all undressing. And then the cameraman turns to one of them holding the camera to the mirror, and the other one's like looking down. And they're zooming in on the younger her in the background because they're like, ooh. They see really wanted to tell you, like, yeah, we're seeing this. Don't hate. Her only crime is she aged 30 years, So, and let's talk about the movie, the remake of the movie from the documentary. Somebody's home video, somebody's idea and goal now plays it into a production. Now, the movie was Drew Barrymore played the daughter, Edith. Jessica Lange played the mother, Edith. Now, I thought they were both great, and it was directed by Michael Susky or something. Now, the movie went back between the flashbacks of the modern day, them doing the documentary, and it was verbatim speech from the documentary. So, and then it also went back to the time but when the mom and the daughters, the husband left, and she wanted to go to be a superstar. She wanted to go to New York, become something, but her mom needed her. And I thought they did a great job. I thought Drew Barrymore couldn't really tell because, again, verbatim, she had to literally rehearse like verbatim to be Edith. So she wasn't really left with a lot of wiggle room to show that, she brought her essence to it. But in the younger scenes, you can see it. And if anybody knows Edith from watching the video, like being outrageous, she's kind of a one-trick pony. That personality is that way all the time. So, like, when she went to New York and she ran into, like, maybe this producer or director, somebody in Hollywood that could have gave her a star in an audition. They did. They gave her an audition because she pulled up with her eating at the lunch table, having in a restaurant, and Eva just comes up, "Oh my God, you," right? You know how, like, exaggerated stars, and of course, like, yeah, they're loving it. And she's putting on the whole show. This was when she had hair, and she like dun 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 dun, right? Just all outrageous, like showing that she could outperform like a performer, right? And that's what we all thought, like, as everybody, like, oh wow, yeah, audition. Little did they know she never got to go back to the audition. Spoiler alert. She ends up with her mom for 50 years, decades later, just living in this house in dreams of the past, all right, and holding on to it. But I bet if she went to that audition and they would have been like, okay, they're going to give her, like Shakespeare. Wherefore art thou, Romeo, She would have been like, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Like, that's how outrageous they are. And they were, I don't think anybody knows that was their personality. But that was their personality. And Jessica Lange with her glazed over eyes playing the mom. Edith, Edith, we gotta eat. What are you eating? Edith, can you handle me that plate? Edith, when your dad was here, I would have been fed. My whole belly would have been full. Because your dad left us. I lived my life. You never got to. But luckily for you, you had your mother. I know, none of the men were for you. You had to come back home. Oh, and I like that. It's a whole story of, like, you never know, like, when people have something bad happen to them, or if they just were that type of personality, like, kind of can't keep up with the Joneses, even if they are, you know? Anybody watch Breaking Bad? One of my favorite TV shows of all time. And you look your best in Breaking Bad. Right? The way they kept it with the air of mystery, and that people wanted to be able to debate on whether they were right or wrong, and we're going to side with Walt. Remember when Walt had the falling out with the gray matters? We just, like, the way they presented it was like, yeah, they done him wrong. Absolutely, you know? I bet if you dive into the story, you know, it's all up in the air. Like, you left me, you cheated on me. Like, I know it wasn't as small as that. Like, they really did him wrong. And he had to build this empire because, you know, that was half his building. It wasn't just a breakup and she chose somebody else. Like, it was there. But then again, you don't want to describe it because then you can't really focus on the movie. So that's what they did in Grey Gardens. The way, like, Edith had to, like, leave her dreams behind. We're not really sure, you know, if she just didn't give it a shot, or, you know, the circumstances with all the men. In the movie, they portray it as a rich man betrayed her. You know, she went back home. Her mom needed her, but for what condition? Other than her men left her. So they left that up for the, you know, the zany idea, because it's not important of the movie, except to understand the motives of why they are the way they are. Now, what did I learn from the cameras and stuff and all the angles, and what I'm going to apply to my movie? My movie is going to be outrageous. It's going to be over the top. It's going to be characters you can mimic and you can perform, and you're going to want to. You're going to want to do that. So for Vineyard Sluggers, Grey Gardens is Italians. Italians are known for their big personality, and they're bringing in family, you know. So, and they have a lot of, my Vineyard Sluggers is a movie about Tony. He's a corrupt cop. He's Italian, okay? And that's what Italians are. Big personality, family bound, you know, except their family's a little bigger and their houses might be a little cleaner, and the food might be presented on the table and not bedridden. All right? Which, by the way, like with a movie, Edith, if you're going to get a man, you got to be bedridden, bed. Ridiculous. Bed better than any bed they've ever. What? Under the weather. So anyway, that's what I'm going to apply to my movie. That big extravagant, the Italian, the clothes, the cars, the cigar, the meatballs on spaghetti, because Abenaki. All right? So thank you for tuning in. We're going to keep this up, and the next movie we're going to watch, I feel we should watch, is Death Becomes Her. Okay, because again, it's about two outrageous women clanked together, you know, bound together for whatever reason. These two are rivals this time, but still the bickering attitude. And I thought it, the Fountain of Youth and the theatrics and the makeup and the obsessive need to always, you know, Hollywood glamour, when it's really about, you know, the personality and the people and the story. It ain't about the looks, no matter what's happening, okay? It's about the plot, the story, the structure, the expressions, all right? And that's what we're going to watch. We're going to watch Death Becomes Her. And we're going to watch the two bickering women. It's a story about two bickering women, the point of view of them. And we're going to smooth right into movies. Again, we're going to learn much about the movies. Tune in with me. Thanks for tuning in. This is the first video going up. Again, my anchor podcast is Cigarettes. And if you're Catholic and you want to go along with learning our religion together, because I never read the Bible, but I've been faithful for 33 years. Anointed, good Lord Almighty above us. Tune in for that, as well as I put into words the love I have for my Jesus. Thank you for tuning in. This is Werewolf wiring out. And I hope you're as excited as me on my vanity project journey. And we're going to be content creators, and we're going to review movies, we're going to write books, music, all of it one day. All right? You're excited, I'm excited. Journey now, day one. Film study, documentaries, because everybody has always had a home camera or a video. And that's one thing I learned about documentaries too. This was filmed in 1975. And now documentaries, like I said, you can get your iPhone camera on. You can get the editing tools with the photograph and all that. So basically, you don't have to carry all that equipment. And, you know, everybody wants to be in the camera. They want to tell their stories. It's more accessible now. So we're learning that, the tools and stuff from Hollywood filmmaking is changing. All right, from the drones, like an ambulance, a Michael Bay movie with all the shots and all the whoa, and then the cars were like, shoo, you know? So we're learning all different techniques. That was probably more likely shot with 16mm film and camera. Some of the directors still old school typewriters. Jerry Seinfeld with their legal pads and all that. Some people still old school, bringing it back. We are too. We're learning it all. New moves, new movies. And documentaries, shoot your own little short clip, you know? Why don't, for this week's assignment, since I'm going to be the teacher. I'm going to be the teacher, and you be the student. You be the Edith himself. You be reading. Oh, the horoscope. My man's out there, and he wants me to sing and dance when this movie comes out. Amen. That's what documentaries are about. We're exploiting people, we're exposing their stories, and we're having empathy for them. Now, as sad as that story was, the two recluse, the daughter giving up her life, the mother, not in her primes no more. The mom, after the movie, died 2 years later. Rest in peace. And then Edith she went to the movies. She saw the movie. They wanted her to perform. She got to travel a little more. Go to Florida, California. She ended up dying in Florida, 2002, at like 80 years old. So it turns out to be good, and it turns out their sob stories isn't so bad with the movie. They had a life. They were rich. People's personalities. And that's what I loved about it. They were reclusive, and every day sitting there in their bikinis, sunbathing, like they were like, oh my God, we're just going to be sunbathing. Like we're at the beach in the vacations. Like bringing in, we have like, every day they were like both in their own heads. There was many shots where they were sitting together, and the mom's like, Ina, she's all singing in the corner like, and I loved you. You were the only one I couldn't. Like she's all in the background playing her old cabaret or, Barnes and Nobles, whatever. So then Edith is over here in her Barnes and Nobles, right? Just trying to like show off and flash like they're all both bikini and sunbathing, like, and they live in a room. So anywhere you are, you can create movies, you can be the star. Doesn't matter. We're hitting like 20 minutes. That's good. First movie, first video, and that's your first assignment. Get your camera out. I don't care if it's 3 seconds. I don't care if it's that 7-second TikToks. If I was going to do a TikTok, I'd remake Drake with arthritis. I'd be like, starting from the bottom. Now we're here. Like, you know how you can't stretch? Because that's what we're doing now. I just got back on my health kick. My legs were crippled, paralyzed, electrocuted like a werewolf. That's why it's called Werewolf Wiring Out. They were electrocuting me like Teen Wolf, like I was a werewolf. And while now it says great variety show of comedy and skits and sketches and all that. And bring your friends and cheering. So that's why we did that. And we're also on our health and our flexing. I'm going to get there. I'm going to be able to do V sit-ups, pull-ups, muscles up, all that good stuff. And you can join me on a world of better health. Record your food if you want. It was like 20 minutes of the one show. I'll mention the name another day with a Coke and it was fizzing over and watching a microwave countdown. That's what I want you to do. I want you to take your own camera, even if you just have like little toys in your room. Okay? Act like you got like a little photo and be like talking like, my sweet children of God. You are protected by the guardian angel. All right? Whatever. You take your own little iPad. Most people have a phone. You got a phone. I got old ones. And all of them, we got phones. You take your phone, you take your camera, and you record something. You record anything. Even if you're recording, again, the fizzy of the soda bubbling over, the countdown of a microwave. Even if it's yourself. And trying out all your Jim Carrey faces. You know, because we need money. We got to fix our face in case you don't see that. I have Bell's palsy and paralyzed my face. Looking like Rupert Ebert. That's why we're doing movie critiques. If you're going to look like Rupert Ebert, might as well be him. Give 2 thumbs up. Which, by the way, more brokage. So, see? Broken thumb here, there. Bam. So, we might as well be Rupert Ebert. And we're going to review movies. Tune in. And that's your first assignment. Record yourself something. And if you're like me, never record home movies or this, upload it. Upload it. Now you have home movies and upload movies. Thank you. This is Werewolf Wiring Out. I hope we learned something together. Join me on all the health and all the prosper, all that. We're going to work it out. And if you know anybody in the movies, tell them to call me. All right? Tell them I'm the one. They want the dialogue. You want a dialogue? I write it. Yeah, any money. I do commercials. I do commercials. All right. This is Werewolf Wiring Out. I'm your host, Selena, not your host. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time tomorrow.